Yeah. So this is a value that I really cherish. Someone's own might be, this is somebody who doesn't have money. Like that's somebody's value. Yes. But mine.
Just like that.
Yes. Mine,
No, you want to share the particular agenda. You don't want to go straight to it. You want to share the particular agenda.
Of course. So, I mean, so with my point, I looked out for someone who is very respectful. And then with that, you know, you look at the other ones and then, you know. So let me just start with this.
Okay. Antonia?
Yes. I'm excited hearing all the views that he's brought. Well done, thank you. Basically, when we are talking about partners, I just want to bring a teaser from that end. You know, when you say partners in today's global world, what are you looking at? Because when people use the word partners, they may not necessarily be thinking of marriage, and it may not be male and female. So let's,
we're going there.
You must set the stage very well for marriage. If we're using the biblical concept, then we are talking of a male and female partners in this point, but not just partners as in partners, because people still get married, but they are either similar gender or not. But from the Bible perspective, a male and female want to come together, want to spend their life together. Eventually, what should they look out for? First and foremost, just like you mentioned, there's this, I saw him, I loved him, and oh my God, I got it. You know that feeling? Good. Many people feel that, well, that's what they are looking out for to be able to determine whether they got a good partner or not. But it's important to know that in determining a partner, first and foremost, who are you? You. What do you want? Many people have no idea who they are. Many people have no idea of what they want. And so they just
go with the flow.
They just go with the flow. It's like, well, when I meet them, I would like it or I would love them. And so they don't know who they are, what they want. They don't know where they are even going. They don't have a clear purpose in life. Because when these are clear, then it's able to define the kind of person who can fit into your purpose. The kind of person who can fit into your lifestyle, your personality, your ideologies, your belief systems. And so when you clarify these things, both as a male or as a female, then you start searching. So if you are the females, well, they claim we shouldn't search, but you know, females can also search without being looking like we are desperate. You say, you smile a lot more. You say hi when you need to say hi. Send text messages. So character, very vital. Person, his values, the beliefs that he has, what are his key principles, his faith.
So write on that, just going to write on that one. The very first value. Which of these should be priority? Should that first thing be love? Should it be facial? Should it be feeling? So which of them, what I'm trying to ask is which of these should be priority? Which of these values should be priority?
Which of these, the ones you have mentioned, will depend on the person. Because somebody will want love. When you say love, it's broad. Which aspect of the love? Is it the feeling aspect or the commitment? Because love is basically a commitment, but it's also an emotion that is expressed. So are you looking for the emotional aspect or the commitment? There are people who are emotional, but they don't have the commitment to go.
I love you. No, because there are people who actually say that, I'm in love with you, but I don't want to commit.
Exactly. Because commitment is sacrifice. And that's where the forefathers and our parents were able to survive, because they didn't have the emotions leading, they had the commitment. And so I'm staying with him whether his character is flawed or not. I stick to him, I stay with my children.
So that's a commitment.
That's commitment. Love is sacrificial. Easter.
Love is a lot of work, actually. Yeah, so for example, with my wife, for instance, sometimes we can have an argument and all of that, and I come home and she has dried a lot of things on the dry line, a clothes or something, and it's raining. You know, I have to still go and take those things. There are shared responsibilities that we do, not because I am mad at you or something like that.
So you let the food burn on fire.
You just have to. So you just have to show up. That is love. You just have to.
It doesn't matter how you're feeling at that point. It doesn't matter
how you are feeling at this point, at that point in time. You just have to work towards it. You just have to show up. That's the love. But last time I saw something and I think it really, I really liked it. The kind of love that sustains marriage has got little to do with emotions. Has got a lot to do with action.
Say that again. Actually, it's not connected.
Yes, the kind of love that sustains marriage has got little to do with emotions, feelings, how you feel.
Okay.
But it has got a lot to do with actions, the commitment, the work you put into the love. Yeah, that's what really sustains.
So you'll be upset, but you still need to do what you have to do. You not leave the food on fire because yeah, do your chocobila. No. I know, right? Yeah, do your chocobila.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes,
so it goes beyond that.
It goes beyond that. It goes
so
beyond
with that, you're choosing your values personally. So I'm still going back to which one is being, you know, priority, taking priority place.
So the priority
first place
for me would be faith.
Okay.
It will vary from person to person. Your faith, we should have a common faith.
Okay.
Because if I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and personal Savior and you don't, we're already not going to be on a common ground.
That's for you.
That's for me.
But there are people who would also
That's why I'm saying that the values will vary.
Okay.
So I would not say this is priority or not. It will depend on the individual.
Okay.
It will depend on what they want in life.
Okay.
Okay, so then now the person's values in terms of character values are more important for me. Because your character will keep you through the turbulent phases of marriage. Because marriage has its different phases because of the responsibility. So how tenacious are you to go through that responsibility that is ahead of you?
Wonderful. So is there anything, let me just move on to this. Is there anything as the perfect person?
No.
There's nothing like that.
I mean, perfect, it's
relative.
It's relative.
Thank you.
For example, I'll say my wife is perfect for me in not a way that she's a perfect human being, but in a way that I have, we have shared values, and her flaws, I have a lot of tolerance for that.
What about you?
Yes, the same thing. Yes, it's vice versa. Let me put it out. So yes, so I mean, she's not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. I have my flaws.
But you're perfect for each other.
I'm that kind of person. Every morning I'm looking for my keys, my car key.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
And she's that kind of person who knows wherever I put stuff. I'm very, let me say, disorganized at all. But she's that kind of, you know, she keeps things at where they are. And when I can't find it, I get mad. You know, but sometimes when she finds out, I tell her, oh, okay, so you went to hit it here and then you're now bringing it. I mean, just to, you know, create some form of like livelihood and all of that. So I mean, it's not one size fits all. I mean, once there are some kind of characteristics that you can, you know, you can tolerate. That tolerance level, you have to look at it. You look at your values. Okay, I can't tolerate a person who is disrespectful. That's a big one for you. So you don't go for that person.
So what about the whole sacrifice thing? Don't you, like, you know, let's say I can make do.
That's what exactly
like you accept the person as they come.
Not as they come. There are some things that you can't compromise.
You
for example, faith is something that is very, I can't compromise on faith.
Okay.
No matter how you fit, I can't compromise on faith. That is me. But there are some people who can compromise. I've seen marriages that the woman is a Muslim, the man is a Christian. And they are okay. But personally, I can't tolerate that.
Okay.
Somebody can. So you look at what you can work with, then you meet the person halfway. I mean, so once a while it will flash through, but you try as much as possible to resolve your issues and then you move
So there's
on.
No perfect person. There's always a perfect person for you.
Personally.
You think so?
I agree with that. It's just like using a socket example. Like, you know, the socket, we have the round holes and we have the square holes. So somebody may just be a square plug in a round hole and looks like the marriage is not working, but we may just find the perfect square hole that fits. So the perfect fit, it's the two people who fit each other, their needs, their values. Have you seen a couple that you look at them and you're like, how did this girl go for this guy? And they are so, and they are so, they are so happy and they are doing so well, it's just because they are good for each other. So they are perfect people for each other, for our unique strengths, personalities.
But you see, in your own eye, it's not perfect.
No. If they wear your spectacles, but if they wear your spectacles, they'll be like, oh, did I see well?
And but usually, did I see well is after the thing did not work.
Exactly.
When it didn't work, you go and say, so all along,
so that's even a good point you just brought, meaning that at different phases of our life, our ability to make choices vary. So you are talking about before marriage. Remember, there's naivety, there's immaturity at that stage, there's a lack of access to right information, and then the things we value. People are so trusting at that age. And the things we value and the things that we feel are very important when we are young may not be very important when we are older.
True.
Because circumstances have changed, environments have changed. Remember, about 30, 40 years ago, most mothers would either go for nursing, teaching, so that they have time for the home. Today, you have more career women. And so I need a man who will be able to understand a career woman and go along with me, encourage and cheer me on, and not put me down or make it look competitive. So you find a good man, he may be excellent, but he may be intimidated by the woman who is doing well. So you find many young people also now following the social media craze, and it's not about marriage, but it's about who can give me that wedding. I mean, I must trend, you know.
Yeah, I must trend. Exactly. I must put me on. I need to wear that gown.
Fancy hashtag.
Thank you. Yeah, we need to put those two. But some of them are really weird.
Yeah, of course.
Like, if you put a man's name and a woman's name together, anyway,
but do we have to put it together? Everybody is putting it together.
Right.
So you see, these are the things that people are using to make their decisions. So you get a great guy with all the right values, with potential future homemaker, father, but I don't want that because he has pocketitis. You know the pocketitis?
No, please break it down.
The pocket is tight.
Wow. He doesn't have money word for that. He's a miser. Or not?
No, in this case, he's poor. His pocket is very
sorry.
Sorry, that's just by the way.
Pocket tight.
The pocket is tight. So he's like,
nothing is going out, nothing is coming in.
Nothing is going out, that is coming in. Can he give me the wedding? And then instead of thinking of the character that will sustain her 15 years down the line, she's thinking of that wedding.
Hey, but she just want to know the character will jump down.
Now the truth is,
please.
You see, and this is where many young people miss it. I want to put my foot down at this point because many of the decisions that they make just before marriage are usually based on fleeting things. On the looks, his height, the six-pack, the girl, she's slim, carryable, she's everything. I know what you mean.
Coca-Cola boss.
She's smart. And now the young guys want the girls who are working, who have money, so that they are not going to pay all the bills. They want that. So there are a lot of factors they are looking out for. But those things don't sustain relationships. Because like I said, sacrifice commitment. Children waking up at midnight who are sick. I'm sure that guy will be ready to drive to Kolebu at that time of the night. Okay, you're a career woman and you have to go to Korea for a week. Will your husband be able to take care of 3 babies?
Sure.
Okay, your mother-in-law gets sick and she has to spend 6 months with you. You are supposed to change diapers and take care of him, and take care of your in-laws. Can you handle? These are the realities of marriage. So when you're making choices, you're thinking of character, you're thinking of values, you're thinking of your future, you're thinking of parenting your children, you're thinking of transferred values, and you're thinking of sustainability. All these things run through the test of time. So yes, today he may not have money, but when you pray for him and he gets a great job, who knows? His story will change. And many people's, you know, the kind of men, people or children we have today, 30 years down the line, our parents, as they are now wealthy, if they brought us our parents as they were that our mothers chose, most of the girls won't choose.
It's true. But those times, baby. No, we are sorry.
And that issue, if it's not properly dealt, many young ladies especially are missing out on opportunities because they have put in, what do you call it, certain barriers or certain expectations that are unrealizable. So the kind of men they need are not yet born or not yet manufactured.
So to give them their own clay.
I prefer the manufacturers.
Yes, exactly. You use the right word. Give them their own clay to create the kind of men they want. They don't exist. And it looks like, well, I'm not married, I'm 30, I'm 35, I'm 40. It's because maybe some of the rules that you have put in and you are being insistent on maybe too hard and fast. And also, there are some too who are being too lax. They are not being diligent. They are not being vigilant. Because you can see traces of abuse. You can see traces of a neglecting potential man. Right. Or you can see traces of this man, this marriage won't work 2 months or 3 months down the line. And they ignore it. Because I got a feeling.
Do you think that they just pay attention to the gut feeling around that time?
Because they pay more attention to the emotions.
I feel he's the one.
He's good. He speaks well to me. He takes care of me. He gives me gifts. Especially those who fall into the trap where the guy or the girl you meet speaks your love language. So if it's gifts, they give you the gifts. If it's words, they know what to say. You know that thing? When his call comes.
What's your love language, please? What's your love language?
My love language?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
oh, you don't want to put this out there, so
we'll come to that later. We'll come to that later.
Yeah. Right, so I think it's always a gut feeling, right? People actually, like you're saying, the love language. So they find out that which you're concerned about, and they poke you right there. So then you feel that, oh, this person knows me too well.
Knows you too well.
I think that right person for me. Yeah. Right? Because you're at work and then they send you the flowers. Oh, yes. And then they send you the chocolates, or probably they do something silly and then they know how to say sorry. Because women are actually driven a lot by apologies. A man who can apologize. Or the emotions.
The emotions. Women are more emotional.
They're more emotional.
That's why we fall into trouble easily, because we are not too logical when it comes to love. But love has both emotions and it has logic. So the logic is you are considering the factors that will make the commitment worth it. But emotions is how I feel when I see him, when I get his call. He didn't call me. When he passed by me, his perfume, his looks, that dimple.
That smile.
And those ones are superficial.
They're superficial.
Yeah, they're very superficial. So, I mean, what really makes it work is the realities. The reality, how do you test those kind of realities? You know, the person speaks your love language, does all the things that, you know, puts that smiles on your face and all of that. But have you considered the other side of it, the realities of marriage? How do you even test that when you are in a relationship? You know, sometimes life, you know, brings up a lot of things. You're in a relationship with a guy, he does all the things for you. He speaks your love language and all of that. Then one time you do one thing, and then you shout at you and all of that. All of these things,
Guy, don't change.
Yes, those are the things that you should think about. You should look at. Hey, what is this?
Is that the real person coming out?
Then small thing that the person slaps you, and the following day he brings flowers.
Yes. That's what I was talking about.
You know, others food for you, and you know, then
to forget everything.
There are lots of people like that. You know, they are in abusive relationship, and their partners are abusing them, but the money and the kind of things that they do after the action has. And
we prefer to cry in a Bentley.
Yes. So,
use $100 bills to dry our tears.
Yes, of course. So I mean, so these are some things that as Pastor Rice rightly said, these are some of the things that you should look out for. I mean, it's good if the person speaks your love language, but marriage is beyond that. So you have to use your head sometimes, and then, you know, don't. The feelings is important, of course. Everybody has got spec, you know. So once you look at those ones are superficial. I tell people all the time that feeling that I'm in love with him, and those ones
they go away.
Yeah, when you are pregnant and you are craving something, and you know, it's not the feeling that's going to buy something for you. Or when baby is sick and all of that, there are some times that you have to wake up early, drive my wife to the hospital and all of that. You need to have an understanding partner to be able to do that. You know, so
true.
If and there are some people today buy all of these things with money. You know, and I'm sure Pastor will attest that it also has its own effect with children upbringing and the rest. Instead of being present, they prefer to
pay their way out.
Pay their way out of it. And these are not fine if that's how you want it, but I mean,
but
these
at
are
some
something
point
that
you will miss.
Yes, you will miss it. If,
that
for example, there are children and all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. I know someone who, instead of their children open day, they expect the both parents to come, and then, you know, they will not show up, but they will send their PAs and will go and represent me at this. Yes.
For real?
Yes, it happens.
Not a single one of them can make it.
Not a single one of them can make it. Oh. They are both career partners.
Charlie.
They buy all of that. They pay people. Their children will be in school in the morning till like 8 p.m. And they pick them up. They are both career, so that they pay people to
absent.
They're absent.
Right.
So these are something that you also
need
should
to
also
look out for. Okay. So now let's look at this. This is actually quite important for me. Before we get married or before we choose the right partners, let's look at peer pressure. Let's look at family pressure. Let's look at societal pressure. Right?
Yeah.
Do they in getting the right partners?
Oh, they do. Now, societal influence, let me start from societal influence. When you are female and male in an African culture, once you reach age 25 to 35, society starts looking at you like, why are you not settled? Where's the guy who is coming in? So there's this untold pressure on you to find somebody, whether you are ready or not. You may not be working, you may not have settled with your career path to be sure of what you can do for yourself, to even add on another person, but society comes in. And then societal pressure, like he said, when you grow up in a Christian environment, you know, once I walk into the marriage, I'm not coming in. So you are being forced to get married to a particular kind of person, style of person, and then you must stay in the marriage whether it works for you or not. Now, family pressure. Family also has their ideals. They want the kind of man that will match. Luckily, we are not like maybe the Indians who get married in societal classes. You don't cross carpets. But here maybe now, because, yeah, they don't. So because of I think that boarding house system in Ghana has made it so easy for us to marry inter-regional, inter-tribal. Marriages are great, but there are people who don't do that. So you bring somebody and they are like, oh, he's from tribe ABC. No, we don't want it. That. So you will find somebody you have already fallen in love with. Your family is limiting you. So there's a family pressure for you to marry either from a particular tribe, because growing up at home, they have listed a certain number of tribes you shouldn't bring from. So that is even limiting your decision or making you a little more confused on settling with somebody in a particular place. Then your own personal of friends, peer pressure. All your friends are marrying from a certain class, certain style, certain school level, and then you are like not getting the potentials coming in your way. So you also give yourself pressure to be able to find somebody in a particular class, in a particular denomination, what do you call it, financial bracket, which is so important. So pressure comes from all these three levels. And it's good to know they exist, but it's good to, one, know who you are and what you want, so that these pressures don't influence you. Else
there's trouble.
Trouble down the line, because few years down the line, most of the things we think are important really don't matter. I always ask young people this question. If somebody comes your way, he's smart, he's handsome, but he has a handicap because he was born with maybe a particular challenge, so he limps. Oh no, we don't want him. And I'm like, why? Mindset. Because he doesn't fit their peer pressure ideal of that guy.
Probably scared of being mocked.
Be mocked, being looked down
upon. Well, it also comes down to the circle of friends that they have.
That is the example I'm trying to give. So the circle of friends, maybe we are picky, we are choosy, we'll pick the fiancés or the or the ladies that we want, and we talk about them in a particular way. So when you even meet somebody who doesn't match up to the kind of guy or lady that your friends have, you want to either hide the person or you actually say no.
Comfortable. Sure. All right. We'll come back to talk into this, but we'll take a little break. And you're still on the Friends and Family Show tonight. We're talking about making the right choices and with choosing a right partner. Or let me just take the right out. Choosing a partner, because probably right is actually relative. It could be right for you, not right for me. So things that we want to talk about. We're hanging out all the way to 7, so please stick and stay.
Welcome. It's Play to 8.
Get ready for the game show where every play has a purpose. Welcome to Play to 8, the only game show where your knowledge and skill don't just win you prizes, they help change lives.
What sport is considered the most popular in the world?
Come on. Football.
Every point you earn goes toward real-world support, from school supplies to health kits, clean water to emergency relief. Play smart, play big, Play to 8. Catch all the action, the drama, and the heat.
Most commonly spoken language in Brazil.
Portuguese.
Play to 8 every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
Edna, let's begin.
The Play to 8 game show is proudly sponsored by Tank Palace, Giraffe Island, and VVIP.
You're welcome back to the Friends and Family Show. You're live on Channel 1 TV. We're coming to you live in our studios here at number 5 Ola Hansen Lane in Tesano. My name is Noyo Kwote. Tonight on the show, we're talking about the Friends. We're talking about, I almost said we're talking about the Friends and Family Show, but we're talking about making the right choices, okay, and getting the right partner. So before you get married, you're looking at if you're choosing the right person. What is influencing your choice, okay? So I go to Auntie Hannah, and we're talking about something very important before we left off. We're talking about family pressure, societal pressure, and peer pressure. So what would be the greatest influence? Do you think that actually it is the peer pressure that gets to the people or gets to the person much more than the societal pressure? You think I'm going to answer that question before I even get to you.
Okay.
I think it's peer pressure does, because we spend more time with our friends.
Very good.
And if we say the societal pressure, that would be a lot of little things that we hear around, not necessarily like, getting into direct contact. But we get into direct contact with our friends.
Yeah.
At some point in our lives, probably in university, we're talking about, dating this kind of person, getting into this kind of family. This is the kind of life I would want to live, or the kind of family I'd want to be in. So I think that's where the influence gets to the person much more than, or what you think, than any other pressure. Well, I feel that's the getting into contact with the close people, your circle.
So it depends on you and depends on the associations around you. So if the predominant voice is your family, then your family pressure will be the loudest. But if it's your peers or your friends, then the peer pressure.
Okay.
Because you see, normally by the time you're a teenager getting into young adulthood, your predominant psychosocial need are the affection from your friends, and their validation is more important to you.
That's the word I was looking for, validation. if you're accepted in a particular thing.
It's so important to you. So you would make choices for your friends to actually even validate you. Right. So people have actually made wrong choices just because of validation. But you know, family also makes long-term decisions, because most of the time they are putting a daughter and a son into a community. And it's no longer two people coming together, but two families coming. Do I want this family in my family and make it part of my history? So if you were a child where family influence has been intentional and very, very strict from the beginning, then your friends don't have the upper hand. Yeah. It is your family. Because who is this family? Where is he coming from? What are their values? What are they known for? Because life is all about families. When we talk of Benz, it's a family. Toyota is a family. In Ghana, there are names which are families. We just know that this family is in presidency. This family is in this. And there are some families, when you hear them, you just know that this family, you know.
You don't go there.
You saw my hand.
Okay.
Exactly. So who is the loudest voice will determine whose influence really plays. I'm sure you can add on to that.
Yeah, I think those ones are very personal to each individual. I mean, as you rightly put it, it depends on how you were brought up. For example, if you are in a stage where most of your decisions are influenced by your friends, then they are going to be the ones to, you know, influence you in most of your life choices that you make. For example, when with regards to choosing the right partner. Yeah. So I remember last time I made a post on social media and it's trended. I mean, I put it up like, if you are considering marrying your partner and your family is not in support, your parents are not in support of it, it's better that you stop it and you move on. And, you know, I had a lot of backlash with all of these things. You know, so, as Pastor rightly put it, most of our culture, marriage is between families in Ghana. Marriage is between families. It's not like you have a choice in choosing, but up to now, I know there are some families that don't accept certain tribes. I've seen it. I've seen it before, yes. So these are some of the things that you have to really look out for. The peer pressure is there, but one thing I always tell people is that ask yourself, you are the one going into the marriage, not your friends. Family, you okay? Yes, are you okay with it? Am I okay with this decision? When it gets to that testing time, you're not going to do it with your friends. Sometimes you call them and they will not even pick your calls. So ask yourself that kind of critical, how do I put it? Just do a self-introspection and then ask yourself all the critical questions that you need to ask, and use your head to answer. Don't use your heart, don't use your feelings, use your head. Logic, yes, use that to answer. You get it, yes, and then you'll be fine. Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's take a few messages. And this one here says, I'm Stephanie from WA. I want to know, is it better to marry someone your family loves but you are unsure about, or someone you love but your family disapproves of? Try take it again.
I got it. I gave a big because you see, there's so many sides to it. Your family approves of somebody, but they are not going to be in the marriage. And this is a very important point, because they may love something about him, the way he carries himself, and people's behavior to the outsiders may not always be the same behavior to you living in the marriage.
Right.
There are people who have great appearance outside, but it's different living with them. And so I feel it's better both your family approve of the person and you do. But if your family approves of the person and you don't, unless you feel that you have been trained to be able to accept, or they are pointing out to you good things about him or her that you may not have seen, maybe values, character, that will be sustainable, which is important, because there are some people who are a little childish, so they may not see well unless somebody brings their attention to it. But here's also the other case where now you like the person and your family doesn't approve of the person. That is even more complex, because when your family doesn't approve, the marriage doesn't start, the marriage doesn't go on, because they won't receive the things. Some have bypassed their families and still gotten married. And years later, their families may have accepted reluctantly. Others, 2 years later, their family never accepts.
Still.
But we don't encourage that, because you see, the blessing of your family makes your marriage a little more sustainable and gives you the, what do you call it, the grace or the leverage that you need. Because marriage, you will need support at a point in time. Your mother may come in, your mother-in-law to take care of your children, your sisters or your cousins.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So when children come in.
It's a whole mix.
We have my wife's mother is staying with us now, and he's been super helpful. Assuming she didn't approve of this marriage.
Exactly. So I was going to ask that. You know, sometimes you and your partner, you're okay. You love each other. But crisscrossing, your family don't approve of your partner. Same way, the other way around. How do you deal with that? Because your partner is going to say, well, I am the one that's marrying you. Not my mother, not my father, not my family. But I know that is actually the whole family that's is a marriage between two families and not just the two of you, although in the front is both of you. But how do you handle that? Because you're going to a family where you're not wanted.
And that effect can be very devastating when you are in a family where you know you are not wanted. There's going to be a lot of irritation, agitation, depression, isolation. You are not part of their family meetings, you're not part of the family programs, you are not going to be received well. Basically, you have to have the conversation. It's actually a red flag. You should have that right conversation and make sure that, well, I'm willing to go into a family where they don't like me and I'll survive. Or I think that this is going to give me problems in the near future. See how you can let your family put me in.
I think that has got to do with the logic aspect of choosing a partner. You sit down, you look at all the troubles that you can tolerate. Because if your partner's parents don't accept you, it is in the dating stage. At one point in time when you are dating, he will take you home. Once he takes you home, and she takes you home, and they make it clear to you that we don't want you.
What if they don't make it clear, but you can tell from their body language? Probably you're not the one. You're not seeing it properly.
They are part of it. I mean, if they don't say it,
but their body language
when it gets to that time, you will know.
You know.
Oh, when I visited you, hey, I didn't like the reception. Is everything okay? They say, I had a conversation with my friends. It seems that they don't like you and all of that. So these are some of the things. Marriage is there are a lot of troubles in it. There are a lot
what if your partner says,
there are a lot of problems. But sometimes if you are lucky enough for the problem to come before you enter into it, then you have to use your head and then think critically about it.
You like the head.
I like the head. Think critically about it, whether you can handle it. If you can handle it, that's fine.
What if they change along the line? Or you never know until you get into it.
Yeah, you never know until you get into it. But there are some one or two people who have waited down, then they try. But at the long run, the parents give in and probably they marry. So if you are not willing to risk that, then. But is it even worth it? You know, is it? You have times that probably you may want to have children at this kind of at this stage or that. Is it something that is it a trouble that you want to carry on yourself? If it's something that you can handle, good, fair enough.
But if you can't, the earlier the better.
The earlier the better.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so we have more messages. Let's just deal with. Hi, Na. What do you do when your family refuses to accept your partner even though you're sure you've made the right choice? So if it's in what we just spoke about, right?
Sometimes you need to get a third party in to help. So
where the third party is?
It could be a counselor, somebody your parents respect, an uncle, somebody who would listen to your father to speak on your behalf if you are very sure, so that they could help you to be able to make that decision. Yeah.
All right. So we have some more messages. Let's do Akosia, I think family pressure is real, but no one lives inside the marriage except the two of you. Yeah. So choose wisely for your own peace, not just their approval. And I agree. Yes. I agree.
I agree too.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, I agree.
It's just the two of you.
It's just the two of you.
So if they're going to choose for you, you choose your own peace.
You choose your own peace, yeah.
Because if I'm not going to be able to sleep at night because of you, who born dog in this
But you see, we can also look at it from a reverse. Unless you trust the people making the choice for you so much. 30 years ago, people were choosing for people, and their marriages have lasted very well because they made the choice based on critical values. Critical values, character, home, training, upbringing. So we could vouch that this person will be able to help you along the journey.
Right.
They had studied you. So what you are now going to study in the person,
it's been done for you.
It's been done for you.
But what you saw is all what I want.
That is the point now. What I want versus what you saw. Now, what I want, is it also very sustainable? Because a lot of the things we actually want.
Or not.
Your wants are good.
But my wants
are your wants the most important things?
Well, that's a good question. It's about messages. Let's get into that. My parents always told me marriage isn't just about two people, but it's about two families. I didn't believe it until after I got married.
Yeah. Yes, as I said earlier on,
yeah.
I mean, there are some responsibilities. If you have your extended families help you, it's luxury.
Yeah.
It is.
I can attest to that.
It is.
I know, right?
It is luxury.
You know,
when
you
your mother-in-law comes around, shouldn't even allow your wife to cook and all of that. I mean, you don't have who. I mean, they take away a lot of.
Stress.
When children when you have babies at home, toddlers, they can disturb you. I'll not put it this way, but they can worry.
No.
But you see,
on the torture.
Oh, no, I won't accept that for children.
I don't know, little domestic terrorists.
No, they are not.
I have one Abeku in my house.
Abeku, the name itself.
They are the ones who bring joy. And they are the ones who test your tenacity. If you can adapt to situations.
Yes.
But I was just going to add to the topic about families. You see, thank God for your mother-in-law who is excellent. But there are some in-laws that are...
Mine is excellent as well.
I'm glad to have that. There are some in-laws that are not too good. There are people who have stressed themselves just because a mother-in-law came in and then actually broke their marriage down because she's very petty. She wants things a particular way. She's brainwashed.
She's moved in.
She brainwashes her daughter, and things must be done this particular way. But you could be a couple where you understand each other. You have your own flow. We've talked about how we want to live our life. Your mother-in-law comes in with her own ideologies and imposes.
That's my child.
That's my child. I want it my way. I want it this way. So basically, it's important for us to understand, like I said, who we are, what we want, back to what you said we want, but which is more important and which is sustainable for the length of marriage, which could be 50 plus 60 years.
Okay, so there's still more messages coming through. And I think it all comes with open communication, sharing information, ideas, and then trying to feel free while being transparent is very important. The problem is that a lot of people are in a hurry to get married. We see that lately. A lot of people are very much in a hurry to get married. Where is the rush? If you don't take your time to study the person, you will go and crash. I like this one. This one is rhyming.
It's rhyming. But the truth is, how long can you study somebody? People can pretend for 10 years. I would say, oh yes, very, very important. We could be dating very well for 10 years down the line. I know a couple who dated for 10 years and divorced after 6 months. You know why? The key factors that play out in marriage usually don't play out in a relationship. If you're, for example, in a Christian marriage where you don't have intimacy and you were dating, it didn't come into play. Where you were not taking care of providing finance, it didn't come into play. It was just communication, what I asked and what you told me. And if you spend the time in, I love you, what did you miss me for? And you didn't ask the right...
Have you eaten?
And you didn't go to work today. You didn't ask the right questions. You didn't press the right buttons. What are the things that trigger your partner for him to bring out the negative aspect of him? There are some people who look excellent until you trigger them because they may have childhood traumas or they may have things that they don't like and you don't know they don't like it. I don't like unfairness. I just don't like it. So if you are being unfair to me in any way, I may react without even realizing. It's a subconscious behavior. So many people miss it in the pre-marital state or pre-counseling state or choosing stage because they miss asking the key questions, the vital informations that will help them make the necessary decisions.
Right.
They make decisions based on what they see, what they feel, what they think, what they have heard, without testing the right buttons to make sure that we get what we really want or what we really need to keep that journey forever.
Okay, so we still have it. Some people are comfortable getting intimate with their partners, but they are shy to ask the necessary questions. Before getting into marriage, you need to discuss critical things with your partner to identify whether he or she is right for you. And this is coming from Raymond in Botiano.
Yeah.
Okay, more messages like, I'm liking this. Yeah,
the vibe.
I like the vibe.
Like the vibe.
Good evening. Would you advise me to marry a married man who has 3 kids already, or marry a single guy who has a child but is not faithful and he makes his unfaithfulness known?
As a married man, faithful.
Yeah.
As a married man, faithful.
No. Would you advise me to marry a married man who has 3 kids already, or marry a single guy who has a child but is not faithful, right? He's very unfaithful, and he makes his unfaithfulness known. I'm not married.
I don't
I'm
get
a
the
child.
question. I'm not getting
Are
the
you sure?
question.
Okay.
No, so the question is,
a married man.
Yes.
Is a man divorced or
No.
something? Is he still in a marriage?
He's still married.
As in, like, he's going to be
So
the
let's
second
say
wife.
second wife.
Okay.
He has
Okay, I
3
get
kids.
it now.
Would you
I get it now.
advise that she marries someone who has 3 kids? She's married, so she's going to be a second wife, or marry a man who has just 1 child, not married, very unfaithful, and he makes sure that he slaps the unfaithfulness in your face.
Sorry, the pastor is saying.
Oh, at this point, you see, she has asked a question which I would say she knows her answer. Many times when people ask such questions, they know their answers. Somebody who is married with his own children has responsibilities.
Okay.
Now, if the person asking the question has the same values that I have as a pastor, we will give similar answers, because as a pastor, I'll say no. If I wasn't a pastor, by virtue of my faith, I would also say no, because I will not break somebody's home and expect my home to be built. So you're going to a married man to be his second wife or third wife, and you want to make sure that you now will get the same attention. No,
as the first one.
because remember, he has responsibilities already. So you are going to be an extra burden or extra responsibility.
So actually, it works probably if the person is a Muslim or something. I know they are allowed to marry for.
Or
if the person
that's
is
what
not
she
even
said, that
a
according to
Muslim
faith.
or customary, you can marry many wives.
So that's why your faith is
so
key.
that's why the faith is key. So if it works with the faith, and then she shares the same values with the man, why not? I mean.
So she's okay to be second wife to.
I mean, if she says the same values, I mean, if her faith allows her. But if it's a Muslim,
so she knows her answer. She knows.
yes, she knows.
She
Yes, she knows. So if it's a Muslim, I mean, I can't. They can marry up to 4.
If she doesn't, then well, we will tell her that one, she should check her value system and what she needs. Then, in addition, we also want the second one who he's obviously cheating, and you know he's cheating, and you still are going into it. It means that you are going to be aware of potential problems that are going to come in that relationship. So I am walking into a trap. I know it's a trap. So don't come and complain tomorrow that the guy is cheating.
Okay, there are more questions. Please, good evening. My question is in a relationship, what are the things you should look before spending on women?
What are you looking out for?
Well, question is, in a relationship, what are the things you should look out for before you spend? Before at the end of the day you say, I don't waste my cash.
So what do you want? Are you looking for a woman to lay her back down for you to have fun with her? Are you looking for a woman who is going to be a potential wife for you? Are you looking for a woman who will complement your needs? These are the things you are looking out for. So what do you want to spend money on that woman for?
Right. In Uganda, we were taught that marriage is about submissiveness from women. And the man should be left to lead. What do you think? So the women are supposed to be submissive, and then the men are just supposed to lead.
It works in different cultures. I mean, it depends on, you know, I'm a Christian, and the Bible also, you know, in one way or the other, it tells wives to be submissive to their husband. But I don't see that submissive as being, you know, the man being controlling. No, yes, sir, master, no. I mean, it's vice versa. Okay. If I love you, but the Bible commands husbands to love. If I love you, I don't mind watching your. I don't mind I don't mind, you know, supporting you in your vulnerability and all of that. We see the love as even a bigger responsibility than because if I cannot love you without being submissive to you at one point. I like this quotation from Professor Piñado. He said, in loving your wife, you submit. And in submitting to your husband, you love him. You love. I mean, so it goes one way. Hand in hand. Yes, hand in hand, you know. So.
Okay, so we'll take a final message. Yes, I was once a victim. The man's family did not like me, but I had my husband supporting me strongly because he was behind me. They did not succeed. That's just like an add-on to what we're talking about if your in-laws are not liking you. So I'm in a relationship with a young lady of my choice, but my pastor is becoming a thorn in my flesh through my family. He has convinced them to dislike her for no reason. Should I ignore their view and go on? Please, any advice? This is Ima from Nkoko.
Please, Pastor.
Pastor, straight to you.
Oh, my God. Well, this is a very delicate question. Our pastors play spiritual covering over our lives. And our pastors are supposed to help in guiding us. They are not to make decisions for us. Now, the pastor may have come in because of one reason or the other, which he hasn't stated. When people bring out their information, they won't give you the true picture. So why is he objecting? What has he seen? There's also, let me put this out there, there's also the point of spiritual manipulation. There are a lot of people sometimes who are pastors or church leaders who manipulate people spiritually and say, well, I had a dream, I saw this, and because of this, you can't marry. But there's also pastors who maybe they may have a prompting or a leading that there's something that is not clear about this particular relationship, so hold on. So one, it depends on what was seen, the influence of that pastor on your life, how your parents have allowed that pastor's voice to be louder than yours. So all these factors must be properly and carefully analyzed. So it's not something that we can take a decision just on air and say the pastor is right, the family is wrong, the guy is right. No.
Right. We are just about wrapping up. I just want to take this message. Hello, now, these days, pastors choose partners for their church members to marry. But most of their marriages are not sustainable, as some are shy to reject the pastor's choice. So because this pastor say yes, Holy Ghost says, you know, Holy Ghost says amen. But you know very well that that's not what I want.
The marriage, you're the one going into it.
Yeah, so if the pastor says, the pastor, hold it there. Please, the Holy Spirit has to be as well.
Well, now let me defend our pastors. There are people who, yes, they may have made some of these suggestions, or they call them link-ups, which may have created problems. But all in all, I think the majority of them mean well.
Yeah. They mean well. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad that you are here to speak on behalf of the pastors for this particular one. Thank you very much. Well, this is how far we can go. It has been the Friends and Family Show. And tonight we've had a very, very interesting conversation. I bet that you've learned one or two that you can actually hold on to just in case that you're looking out for that right partner. My name is Noyo Kwote. We'll come again tomorrow, same time at 6 p.m. It has been the Friends and Family Show, coming to you live from our studios here at Channel 1 TV at number 5 Ola Hanson Lane. We'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. My love to you always. Good night.